All right, what's up, YouTube? Should you become a lease operator? Because they're going to tell you, you're not going to make any money. They won't let you make money. They control your money. Well, I'm going to tell you that I think in some situations, being a lease operator is actually better than being an independent owner operator. And I'll explain all that in the video. Watch it, stay tuned for it. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, all the YouTube stuff. Be cool. Listen for the code word at the end. And I'll see you guys in the comment section. All right, so tonight what we're going to talk about is the difference between lease operating and owner operating. You hear a lot of guys talk about this. They'll say that someone like me, who's an owner operator leased on with the company, is not a real owner operator. And you know what? That's fine. If I'm not a real owner operator, I'll tell you what I am though. I'm a real truck owner. I'm a real businessman. And for me to sign a contract with another carrier is a very smart way for me to do business. Straight up. 100%. That's how I roll. And it won't always be that way, but that's how it is now. That's how I've gotten started. And so for anyone to say that, you know, that you shouldn't do it by leasing onto a company, it either shows their ignorance or that they're scared of the boogeyman of Prime Inc. or some of these other mega carriers where they do a lease purchase program with trucks, which is a little bit different than the lease program or the lease that I'm on. Basically, I'm simply a subcontractor for a carrier. That's what I am. Now, these other guys, they are a subcontractor for a carrier, but they have their truck leased through the company that they subcontract for. So they're kind of like, you know, double dipping in the same, you know, same place. They're leasing their truck from the same company that gives them their work, from the same company that, you know, that they used to work for as a company driver. Whereas me, I bought a truck, so I had a contract to buy a truck, not lease one, but buy one. And it was a used truck at that, $40,000 for a 2008 Peterbilt with about 500,000 miles on it. So it was a pretty good deal. Well, it was a pretty bad purchase in the end because it cost me so much money, but it got my foot in the door with being an owner operator, and it allowed me to kind of get started on this. So I actually wasn't planning on starting the video so late, but you saw I had to go through the toll bridges and stuff, so I'll finish my thoughts on this after I get loaded over here at this refinery. So talk to you guys in a little bit. All right, so we got loaded a little while back, and now we are headed to the sulfur plant. But I wanted to pick up where we left off, owner operators. So there's, I would say, three types of kind of owner operator type people. There's an independent owner operator who runs on his own authority. And what that means is someone who runs on their own DOT and MC number. They are their own carrier. So they are they're an independent company. Then there are the other two that are kind of called lease operators, but it stands for two different things. One is where you're actually in a lease with a company, and you pay for all the maintenance and everything on the truck because you lease it from them. But some of those leases are not very driver friendly, and so those get a bad reputation among internet peoples. And those are the ones where people say, oh my gosh, never be a lease operator, they're terrible. The other one is what I will call from here on out a sub-hauler. So basically you're a subcontractor. You run on another carrier's motor carrier number, another company's motor carrier number, but your name's on the side of your truck. It's your truck. You own it outright, or you have it financed on your own. You're not leasing it from the company. What you're doing is you're subcontracting your services to the carrier, and they dispatch you, give you loads, and do all that. So the first group, the owner-operators, the independent owner-operators, they tend to poo-poo on the lease operators. And the lease operators, usually, from the people I've talked to who have done it, it's not as bad as the horror stories you hear on the internet. You lease the truck, but there can be lease agreements with very small balloon payments at the end. And so essentially you're just kind of overpaying for a truck. But by the time you finance a truck and you pay all the finance charges and everything, the lease is only slightly worse. So basically it's just a poorly financed truck, and you're just like a sub-hauler. And so the last group, the sub-hauler, is the one that people kind of don't understand. They don't understand that there's like an in-between ground between kind of being an independent owner-operator and being a lease operator. So I fall in the sub-hauler group, and I really recommend it. The reason why some people call it a lease operator as well, that's why it gets confusing with the guys who are lease operators with like a mega carrier with a lease purchase option on their truck and all of that, is because we lease ourselves onto another carrier and we don't run our own numbers. So we lease on, they call it, which is why I like to use the word sub-haul, because we're a subcontractor. We run on their numbers. I had my own numbers for a very brief period of time, but then the insurance requirements changed here at the company that I lease on with, that I sub-haul for. And so they put us on their motor carrier numbers and DOT numbers, and we really became official sub-haulers, where we were subcontracted through them. So the first thing you got to understand is that owner-operators, independent owner-operators, think that we make less money than they do. And I'll be honest, I don't know that that's 100% true, unless they're getting freight directly from customers. If they're getting freight directly from customers, then they might be making more than I do. That's fine. I hope they will. I hope they do. The fact of the matter is that they get their loads from a broker, usually, if they don't have direct customer contracts where they're hauling direct freight for a customer. Then they're going through the load boards or going through broker connections that they have in order to get their loads, which is cool and fine, but that broker takes a cut. He's got, there's the shipper rate, and then there's the rate that they're actually giving to the carrier, the owner operator who's hauling the load, and the broker keeps a cut. Now what they're paying for is basically just the broker's connection to the customer. They don't really get any other benefit from the broker. They only get the connection to the customer and the loads. Now, in my situation, as a sub-hauler, a subcontractor, owner-operator, yes, I definitely get my loads from them. It's their trailer, their contract with the customer. It is their everything. But I also get additional support. So yes, I'm giving them a cut, and a pretty decent cut, I'm sure. We don't actually see the invoices. We don't know exactly what these loads get invoiced at to the shipper, or really to the receiver. The receivers are the ones who pay for these loads. But nevertheless, we don't see that, so we don't even know. But I don't really care how much of a cut they take, as long as I'm making enough money to make it feasible for my business, then it's okay. But the cut that they take is not just for the connection to the customer, which is great. It's their loads, it's their contract. But it's also for their entire back office. So you have a dispatcher, which is helpful for the customer because the customer has one point of contact for the around 20 to 25 trucks that are coming and going from their facility during the day. They have one point of contact they can call and get everything handled. So that makes it easy for them. And happy customer means, lots of more loads in the future. But also, so the dispatch services, it's kind of like, it's a necessary evil a little bit, because I'd love to be able to just communicate with the customer myself and be able to kind of make sure that I get the loads that I want and all that. And having someone between me and my loads is a little bit frustrating sometimes. But all the other ways, the entire back office staff is there to support the sub-haulers at the place that I work, at the carrier that I contract with. So when my medical card comes due, I'm sitting there going, hey, my medical card's about to expire next month. I need to think about how to go get my medical exam done, my DOT physical. And then in my box, I get this note that says, scheduled your DOT physical on this day at this time. Let me know if that works for you. From the compliance officer at the carrier that I contract with. Now, sure, it's only like $50. And sure, it's not that hard to make, one appointment, doctor's appointment, and go there every 2 years. It's not that big of a deal. It's just the fact that I don't have to actually worry about all that. It's all taken care of for me. And then the additional stuff that they take care of in the back office, when my tags are due, they will help me with that. With those DMV, DMV stuff, they will help me with that. When my heavy vehicle tax is due, the heavy use tax, that $550 we pay every August, $550. They will help me with that. At no fee, at no cost to me. They will help me file those things, help me submit those things, help me even pay for those things out of their pocket, and then have me pay it off in chunks. If I'm short on cash and I need them to do that, they will take care of those things. And so, as a sub-hauler, we're not just paying for the customer connection as independent owner-operators pay brokers. We have an ongoing relationship, and they are rooting for our success. They want us to be successful, and they will help ensure our success by helping us do all kinds of things that a lot of other companies maybe wouldn't do. And you definitely don't have anyone to do that when you're an independent owner-operator. And so I've never been a lease operator. I've never leased on with a mega carrier or leased a truck from a mega carrier and all that. So if that's how mega carriers do it, which I think would make sense, that they would help with all that kind of stuff, because it kind of bridges the gap between company driver and owner-operator. And so I have a feeling that that's probably how most of those mega carriers work. But I know in my experience as a sub-hauler, a subcontractor, then it has been a great experience. Now, could I get a higher percentage of the load if I was on my own? Maybe if I was a good negotiator with different brokers, sure. Maybe if I was a great salesman and I could go and get direct freight from customers, yeah. And I think that, sometime in the future, I think I'll try that. But when you're just trying to figure out, how to run your truck as hard as you can and how to be an owner operator, it's really great having the support of someone, an entire back office helping you to succeed. And I've already told you guys about the shop bills and how they would do the same thing with my shop bills. They would pay them, and then they'd come back and take it out of my checks little by little. I mean, that is amazing. No one does that. No one does that. I mean, that is amazing stuff. And so, yeah, if you have been scared away from buying a truck and then leasing it on with the company that you are currently working for, man, I mean, talk to the guys who do it. If there's guys who are there who have done it for a while, they might be telling you, and I just released a video about this last week, but they might be telling you how bad it sucks because they don't want you coming in and taking their loads, because it probably doesn't suck. If they're still there and they're still doing it, it might not suck, dude. You should check it out. If you're going to get into a lease agreement with the company, especially with a mega carrier, make sure you know the terms of the lease. And if they seem agreeable to you, then sign it. Go for it. Do it. If it's got a big balloon payment at the end, don't do that. Maybe don't do that. It just depends. I mean, maybe that would fit someone's budget, because maybe you get a lower payment throughout the whole thing, and then basically at the end of it, you're just kind of buying a used truck with that big balloon payment. I don't know. Maybe that's how you want to do it. But just make sure that you read and understand the agreement, because I think that a lot of guys, that's where they get into trouble, is they think that they know what they're signing, but then they didn't actually understand the lease agreement they were getting into. And so then lease operating gets this really bad rap. And I don't know if it actually has that bad of a rap, but I will say this, that sub-hauling, owning my own truck and contracting it to another carrier has been a good experience. And I'm sure it depends on which carrier you contract with. I'm sure there's some who are, not very supportive and, just expect you to do everything, and they expect for you to just run almost like an independent owner operator, and they can just give you the loads like a broker would and just expect you to do everything yourself. Well, that not all companies are like that. Not all carriers treat their sub-haulers that way. And so sub-hauling is a great step, and I would recommend it. Great step towards becoming an independent owner operator and starting your own carrier numbers and building a fleet, or whatever your dream is. It's a good step to get that under your belt. So I got to wrap this up. Let's go ahead and use the word bridge this time, since I'm coming up to this bridge. It's my new thing. I don't know why. It's just a fun new thing that if you listen all the way through to the end of my video, I want to know, partly because I'm curious, and partly I want to kind of, troll the people that didn't watch all the way to the end. And they're going to be like, why is everyone commenting bridge? I don't understand. What is going on? Why is everyone commenting bridge? And then we'll just be like, oh, what? Yeah, I don't know. Cry me a river so we can use the bridge and you can get over it. Oh, no. Yeah, fun little inside joke. So comment bridge if you made it all the way to the end. Plus, these are really long, and I want to find out if people are actually listening to me babble on and on and on, because I can ramble, and sometimes it's a little incoherent, and sometimes while I'm driving, I lose my train of thought, and I'm kind of a little slow. So yeah, I just kind of want to know if people are enjoying it or not. So let me know in the comments. Comment bridge if you made it to the end. Talk to you guys later. Love you.